I think at this point it's safe to say that this UAP hearing that has just taken place might be one of the biggest ones that we've had yet. Obviously, the 2023 one was the one that really trailblazed absolutely everything with David Grush. The next one with Tim Gallaudet and, Lou Elizondo and stuff like that, they were good, but, it was more words than evidence. But then, this one comes flying out of the waters, right? More like a Mach 1 Hellfire missile just bouncing off of a UFO and just blows the water. It was pretty big. So obviously I've referenced there one of the key things that is being talked about off the back of this UAP hearing, but there is a lot that has gone on. I'm going to break down some of the key moments for you. Obviously, if you want to go and check out the full, almost 3-hour version of it, go over to CBS or, major news outlets, really. They covered it quite extensively and pretty much have the whole thing for you readily available. But this is the first thing. So obviously George Knapp was one of the witnesses and testifiers, I guess, who sat in front of Congress and basically told his version of events. And he's gone on record as naming Lockheed Martin as a company in possession of UFO technology. This isn't new information at all. Obviously, we already knew this because Ross Coulthart has come out and stated that, at least he's got, witnesses that have come forward and said at least one Tic Tac UFO has been named as Lockheed Martin Tech. So this doesn't come as a huge surprise, but it's still, nails in the coffin.
Who are the contractors that have this material, the corporations?
Well, one of them is Lockheed. And I'll tell you, I'm not saying Lockheed's the bad guys. They're doing what they were asked to do.
Sure.
They have lied about this because that's what they're supposed to do. But Lockheed would be one. There's a list I can give you, Congressman. Some of the big ones, the usual suspects.
Okay.
There you go. So that, gone on record as to state that, Lockheed is one of the key contractors for the government with this UFO stuff. Again, not exactly breaking news, but it's more evidence to suggest that this may be the case. Hopefully there can be further investigations into Lockheed to see what they're really doing behind the scenes, because obviously if you go to Lockheed and say, hey, we've got reason to believe that you're working on UFOs, I should be like, what? You're crazy. So yeah, now obviously one of the big, huge things was this surveillance footage that seemed to show a Hellfire missile just bouncing off of some kind of UAP. Now that doesn't happen. Bear in mind that Hellfire missiles are named Hellfire missiles for a reason. They demolish anything in their path, right? Hellfire missiles are able to destroy any known tank in the world. Bear in mind, tanks are, they're called tanks for a reason, right? They are tanks. And a single Hellfire missile can demolish one of those. They can level buildings, right? They can go up to speeds of Mach 1. That breaks the sound barrier, right? These things are probably the most powerful missiles, aside nuke missiles, that we've got. Nothing is impenetrable to one of these bad boys. Yet there is footage that has just come out that shows a Hellfire missile hitting something and just bouncing off. Now, a Hellfire missile, even if this thing was incredibly strong, it should have maimed it enough to ground it for then a collection team to go and grab it, instead of just completely kapooting it out of the sky. But this thing just carried on going. It got hit and it just went, that was a light tickle, off we go. Look at this.
I'd like to ask the committee to replay that video that Burleson had played earlier. I want to ask every witness here, specifically ones that have sensor training or have been able to recognize some of this movement real quick. So if you guys can please roll that real quick. Okay, while this is still rolling, Mr. Nusatelli, real quick yes or no answers. Are you aware of anything in the government, United States government arsenal that can split a Hellfire missile like this?
No.
And do whatever blob thing it did and then keep going? Nothing?
Nothing.
All right, how about you, Chief Wiggins?
Nothing to my knowledge, ma'am.
Okay, and how about you, Mr. Borland?
I prefer to answer that in a skiff.
Okay, does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes.
Nat?
I had a different reaction. I was really happy that it got out. Thanks for providing
Curiosity
that.
killed the
Congressman.
cat. All right, Mr. Borland?
Yes, for
Okay. All right, that is the end of my questioning. I'd like to now recognize.
I mean, considering these people are, you know, military personnel, ex-military personnel, intelligence personnel, and they're like, yeah, that's somewhat concerning, because a Hellfire missile should just be able to destroy anything that it's put in its path. Yet this thing just split it in half and cracked on like it was just a light tickle. That's kind of a big deal. That really is kind of a big deal. And, you know, a lot of people are talking about this footage, right? Because obviously, you know, it's completely blown up in, like, across, because no one's ever seen anything like this. No one's ever seen anything like this. This is the first time in history we've seen something like this, right? And, you know, there's some more information on this right here.
To testify.
That's good. So what do you think the American people should take away from watching your video, right? Because when we watch it, obviously, right, we've never seen anything like that. It defies what we know to be technologically possible. What are we supposed to think? Someone's lying about something. Someone's hiding something, right? That's not normal what you looked at.
I think what the American people should think when seeing that video, along with others before me, is that there is something out there, and we should know as the people what it is.
Right, and so let's eliminate possibilities. So they didn't come to you and say there was a technological error with what you were looking at. So we put that aside, right? They didn't say it was broken. So we look at that and we see something. So it's either a weapons program being reverse engineered by our governments or other governments, or it's nobody's government, and it's not from here. Those are it. You agree with that assessment?
I agree, one or the other.
Mr. Borland, when you first experienced...
To testify.
That's good. So what...
So obviously what we were shown on the right is some different footage of some kind of craft kind of evading this like lock-on system, right? Which isn't exactly normal, right? So this is a Tic Tac UFO that was filmed back in 2023 by the USS Jackson, right? So, you know, that, again, more incredible and very compelling footage has come forward with regards to that. Now, I mean, we also had Dylan Borland, who recounts his encounter with a giant triangular UFO, and he testified that under oath in front of Congress. And obviously, Dylan Borland is a former U.S. Air Force geospatial intelligence specialist. So this guy literally knows what he's talking about.
as I began walking towards the light, towards the flight line and the track, the light then flies across the base, across the flight line, and as it flies to me, a triangle manifests around the light. I can't tell you if it's active camouflage. I can't tell you if it appeared around the light, but I can tell you that it was a white light, and then it was a triangle. It stopped about 100 feet in front of me and approximately 100 feet above me. My telephone got extremely hot, completely froze, dead. I remember how thick it was. It was between 1 to 2 stories thick, equilateral triangle. I could never see the top of it, and the edges were 90 degrees. There were 4 lights in total, 1 light on each corner and a larger light in the center, 2 to 3 times the size of the corner lights. But what was really odd was the outside. The best way to describe it is like looking at a James Webb telescope picture where you have the colors and then the black background. So the craft itself was this black metallic flake paint, but on top of the craft was this gold, lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft. I'm under this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then the center light flashes 2 to 3 times, no sound, immediately shoots up to commercial jet level minimum, in my opinion. And I immediately feel static electricity all over my body, and then I smell the smell of after a thunderstorm or lightning storm, that really strong summer thunderstorm smell. Gets up to flight level. I'm trying to get my phone reset, and I can only see the center light at this point. If I didn't actually see it take off, I would have thought it was a star. And then it hovers up there, and it begins to slowly move due east out over the Atlantic Ocean. I finally got my phone reset. The entire thing was about, from the time I saw the light pop up near the hangar until it took off out over the ocean, was about 15 minutes.
I mean, obviously, no evidence to support this one, but, you know, he's testifying under oath. So the story carries weight, and also his reputation and his rank and his, you know, position within the US military also should carry some weight. Now, obviously, there's a lot of information that's come out with regards to quite a lot of stuff. So, you know, we've got some information coming out about Arrow loopholes. Okay, so Arrow was quite a big talking point because obviously Arrow is the Department of it's the Department of War now. It's not even the DOD anymore, which is kind of crazy. But you know, it was brought up quite a lot because people don't necessarily trust Arrow, and people don't necessarily trust the people that run it, like Sean Kirkpatrick, who we'll talk about in just a moment. But Dylan Borland speaks about, you know, some Arrow loopholes that can be used to basically avoid the topic of disclosure.
Mr. Borland, when you engaged with Arrow in 2023, you noted that their public statements did not match the reality that you and others had witnessed. In your assessment, what were the key limitations of Arrow?
You know, I would put it to you this way. The statement Arrow has made is scientific evidence of extraterrestrials. Scientific evidence requires a scientific control. Extraterrestrial is an entity on another planet. The only way to scientifically prove extraterrestrial is we have to go to that planet, acquire technology, bring it back, and compare it to what we have here.
So you're saying they won't let anything out because, or they won't come forward unless they confirm that unless they go to the planet and confirm where its origin is.
That would be scientific evidence, yes. And by that statement, Arrow found no scientific evidence of extraterrestrials is basically, I don't want to call it a psyop, but a misrepresentation, because we do have things. But making that statement is not technically a lie. It's a misrepresentation of the full truth.
Now, I would class that as a lie myself, because if you withhold the truth, you are, you know, in part lying about the full truth. Now, obviously, Arrow kind of doing this is so cheeky because it's like, yeah, well, we can't scientifically prove that it's extraterrestrial because we can't prove what planet it's actually come from, and that would define an extraterrestrial. Now, fuck you, Arrow, basically. But now we've also got some information coming out with regards to Sean Kirkpatrick, because George Knapp's testimony about Arrow appears to have operated counterintelligence efforts to discredit UFO whistleblowers, right? Now, Representative Luna says that she may even subpoena Sean Kirkpatrick following this testimony about basically Arrow going against their mandate and completely misrepresenting whistleblowers.
It almost looks like Arrow operated as a counterintelligence operation to get people to come in, tell their stories, and then discredit all of them. I can't imagine that any whistleblower or witness will ever go to Arrow again because of what happened under the first director, who's now long gone, but still seems to act as the spokesperson for that organization.
And I would say, Madam Chair, maybe at some point we need to really dig deep into Arrow, and I would encourage us.
Oh, I'd be happy to send maybe a subpoena to Mr. Kilpatrick.
There you go. Mr.
Subpoena, potato. Anyway, yeah, so that's obviously quite a big deal. The House loved that, you know, rounds of applause for that, and you know, stuff like that. But there's no denying, right? So Nuccatelli was also someone that came forwards as a testifier under oath. And, you know, he even labelled this as a pivotal moment in history. Take a look, listen to what he had to say.
We stand at a pivotal moment in history. The question is no longer whether these events are real, but whether we have the courage to face them. True leadership requires vision, a willingness to confront the unknown with transparency and resolve. So I ask the Congress to help we the people enact this vision. There are 3 goals. Fund independent research and treat UAP study with the same seriousness as we would any other scientific field. 2, end secrecy and overclassification. Transparency is the foundation of truth. Without it, witnesses like us are dismissed. 3, protect the witnesses. Many stayed silent out of fear for their careers, reputations, and the safety of their families. Protect them, and you will embolden others to join this cause. These phenomena challenge our deepest assumptions about reality, consciousness, and our place in the universe. Exploring them can unlock transformative breakthroughs in technology, biology, and human understanding. Let this be the moment when America chooses courage over fear, transparency over secrecy, and progress over stagnation. Let's show the world that our nation leads not only through strength, but through fearless pursuit of the truth. Thank you.
Powerful statement there. Obviously, we've heard a lot coming out from the past couple of days, especially with Representative Luna saying that it was really hard to get these hearings in place because whistleblowers didn't want to come forward. They were terrified. And then you've got stories of David Grush on his way to the skiff having people pull a knife on him, right? Or pull a brandish a weapon, they stated. I'm assuming a knife, but, it's America. It could be, a firearm. It's crazy. And his testimony there is very powerful and very empowering. Now, George Knapp as well, we're going to bounce back to it. Obviously, you can see we're kind of bouncing around people here, but it's just the way in which it happened. He's detailed a UFO event in a Russian military base in the 1980s. Now, obviously, this is a big deal because Luna's already stated that they've got a bipartisan meeting with Russia and, about their, reverse engineer programs and stuff. Knapp was obviously the person that brought back some files after smuggling them out of Russia in the 1980s. And this is probably his testimony about what he saw in the files and what he witnessed.
You'll see those files that I shared with you. They did find stuff. There was an incident in October of 1982 over at ICBM base where UFOs popped up, was observed over this base where the missiles are pointed at us, United States. These UFOs perform incredible maneuvers. They split apart, they fuse back together, they'd appear and disappear. And right at the end of this 4-hour period, the launch control codes for the ICBMs lit up. Something entered the correct codes. The missiles were fired up and ready to launch, and they could not shut it down. The Russian officers were panicking. The UFOs they disappeared. The launch control system goes back to normal. Colonel Sokolov and his team came in, took the thing apart, could not figure out what it was. It wasn't a power surge or EMPs or some of the baloney excuses that our country has given for similar events involving our nuclear missiles. They thought it was a message from wherever the UFOs were from. And that's a chilling thing. I mean, we were a couple of seconds away from World War III starting, and the UFOs were responsible for it.
All right, I'm at it.
That's crazy, isn't it? That is actually crazy. Now, that's kind of the key part of the specific, things that I wanted to highlight, especially from the hearing. But we've got some post reactions. So this one here is from Eric Burleson, who, of course, it was, one of the chairmen for this hearing alongside Representative Luna and Burchett. And this is what he had to say with regards to this, kind of almost instantly after the hearing.
Hey guys, Stephen Diener here at UAP, live from Capitol Hill with Representative Eric Burleson. The hearing just ended on UAPs, and Eric, great job, amazing. You showed the video of the egg-shaped UAP getting hit, and nothing happened by that Hellfire missile. So what was your reaction now that that's out there for everybody to see that?
For me, it's a relief to get that out there. There was a lot of stress involved in getting a decision matrix and whether or not what to do with this. And look, I'm being very vulnerable to the American people. I don't know. This video may be faked. It may be AI. It may be something that's just very prosaic. But I just want the American people to know that I'm just, rather than sit on it and try to gatekeep it, I'm going to be fully transparent, and I think that we need to have that posture, a posture of be transparent until we know we have to classify things.
Were you satisfied with today, now that's all said and done?
Yes. I mean, building up these hearings is a ton of work, and I thought Anna did a fantastic job.
Last question, and I'll let you go. What are the chances that the subpoenas do happen from the Oversight Committee towards Sean Kirkpatrick or anybody else involved with covering this secret up?
We'll see. Anna, I think, is a bulldog. I think she's going to pursue what's necessary, and so we'll see.
Representative Burleson right here, Stephen Diener, UAP. Thanks, guys.
That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I hope the subpoenas come in. I hope that they, that they come to be, because, Sean Kirkpatrick's got a lot to answer for. Hell of a lot to answer for. Now, Burleson then appeared this morning, my time, probably like just after the hearing, America time, on News Nation to break down the UAP footage and, the entire UAP hearing in a bit more detail. And this is what he had to say on that.
Hello. It seems like you brought some receipts there today. That video, I've watched it a bunch. Now our audience has watched it several times. Tell me what we saw.
Yeah, it's a remarkable video. I received it anonymously with what it's in a way in which I've learned is called a dead drop. The video was scrubbed from all information. So, and that's why I'm saying...
What's a dead drop? Hold on one second. What's a dead drop?
Completely anonymously. There's nothing to trace back to, and I have no idea who gave it to me. So I decided I could either sit on it and try to spend time. I don't have the resources to do forensic on video. And so either I could sit on it, but look, I'm a disclosure guy. I'm just going to let the internet figure out the validity of this video. And so that's kind of the posture that I took.
We heard from witnesses today. Here's one of them.
I heard my friend screaming, it's coming right at us, it's coming right for us, and now it's right here.
The craft itself was this black metallic flake paint, but on top of the craft was this gold lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft.
So here's where I am, Congressman. You can either believe that some of this is extraterrestrial. You could believe that some of this is government and we don't know about it. Maybe it's a mix of both. I have no clue, and it sounds like you don't either. I wonder, though, at this point, sort of where you are.
I'm still at the place where I just really am not going to buy that it's extraterrestrial until I'm proven otherwise, right? I think that the most likely scenario is that we have advanced technology that is being experimented on. I think that our adversaries probably have similar advanced technology, and which may be what we're seeing in this video. And so I'm just going to try to play it safe here until I'm proven. I'm from the show me state. You're going to have to show me until I'm proven otherwise. I'm not going to say that there's non-human intelligence or aliens from another planet. But this is remarkable. And the truth is a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources being put into the UAP phenomenon. And I think we owe it to the American taxpayer, to the people that own this government, some answers.
So you had several witnesses today, I believe 4, who were there testifying. David Grush, the original whistleblower for all of this, was there, but not testifying. He was seated next to you, I believe, at points, because he's been working for you or working for your office for several months now as an advisor. Congressman, what have you learned that you can tell us about from David Grush that you didn't know before Grush started working for you that you know now?
Yeah, David has been fantastic. Look, this is a topic that, I'm a financial advisor. I was a software consultant. I came from the private sector. You didn't
think you'd be involved in this, huh?
No, and I have no real concept of how to navigate the intelligence community and all the inner workings and where the bodies are buried, all that kind of stuff, which is why I felt like the smart thing to do was to hire somebody that did. And I think that David Grush absolutely has done a fantastic job of helping me in my office be a all-star player when it comes to this investigation. We can't keep him on forever, but because I think he's more lofty and higher, better places to go than working for the member of Congress. But he's been fantastic. And a lot of the stuff that you see really comes from, for example, that video, consulted on that video and said, David, what do you think? Is this legitimate? He gave me both the pros and the cons. And that's kind of expertise that we need, I feel like, as a member to be able to go forward with proper.
Eric Burleson, front and center with us tonight, honest and revealing. Thank you for the time, sir.
Very powerful. The entire thing was incredibly powerful, and it was great to see this level of, well, not just exposure and disclosure, but footage. Like we finally got evidence to back up what people are claiming. And the fact that, I think that this should be the mantra moving forward. Release it all, and then let people who have the capability of deciding whether it's real or fake to decide whether it's real or fake, and then, take what you can from it. What do you guys think on the whole thing? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, jump to get the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.